fantasy. And now everyone's picking him up. He had a great matchup, like you said, against the Titans. So now he's almost going on the downside of the excitement, of the value. In other words, after this week, he's going on a bye, then Jones is coming back. So his value's going to drop pretty fast if he doesn't do big things. It might even be time to trade Sanu if you have Sanu. But the whole point of this is, if you had picked up Sanu in week 1, or even if it's before week 2, you could have had a guy who had enormous value where he wouldn't have had any value before that. And that's the key. There's about 10 to 15 guys every week who have zero value. And when the week's done, everyone's clamoring to get them. Maybe 10 to 15 is an exaggeration, maybe 5 to 10. But people need to understand if you can spot those guys ahead of time, that's how you win games. It's not by just playing it safe and keeping the guys you have.
Like Alfred Blue is what you're trying
like
to say
Alfred
there.
Blue.
Nudge, nudge.
I'm
with you.
I'm trying to make you feel good about your decision to drop Maurice Jones.
Hey, I feel good. You guys heard it on the air. That's like some history-making stuff, man. That's like that, were you there when? Were you there? When J-Rock dropped MJD on the air. On the air. Didn't even try to find somebody to take him. Just said, you know what? I'm taking Alfred friggin' Blue. Just like that.
Someone you'll never hear of again.
Hey, no, if we now we got issues if I never ever hear from him again, man, because Arian Foster's going down. Arian Foster is going down at some point this season. He always gets banged up here and there. So
that's right.
There you go. Actually,
that's
you
right.
know what though? Not that this matters right now, but he's kind of becoming the number 2 anyway. So, there'll be certain weeks where he may play more later, especially if they're, preserving carries or anything. There's other value.
Right.
You're right. But so we'll see. But I made the move on the air. You guys, this is what we do every Thursday as we get ready for football. It's hitting it here again. And Fantasy Football for Winners. BJ Rudell is the author. He's with us at 1:30, and hopefully you guys gained something out of this here. How are you doing so far early on in your leagues?
I'm 1-1 in each. I lost both my leagues, both my games last week. One of them by 5 points, the other by 2 points. It was pretty tough. Pretty tough to lose by those margins. But you know what? No excuses. I'm not sitting there saying, "Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that." I had Sanu starting in one, I had Ingram and Bradshaw in the other. I had my under-the-radar guys going in full force, just didn't have enough firepower. I scored the second most points in one of the leagues and lost to the guy who scored the most. So you can't get down about losing. You got to take a look at your team and understand, do I have a team that can win? And if you have a team that can win and you lose, it just wasn't meant to be.
There you go. Have you been hit by the injury bug either, by the way? The unprecedented number of name or star players that went down in the first couple of weeks of the season here. Shocking
number. I lost Jordan Reed, week 1, which I should have anticipated would happen. But I grabbed Niles Paul before last game, and he kicked butt for me. So it all worked out. I had Doug Martin in that same league. That hasn't worked out well, and it probably won't. There might come a time later this season when I have to drop Doug Martin. I hate to say it, but he needs to prove in these next couple of weeks that he's going to be a part of that offense. Otherwise, Bobby Ramey could run away with it.
Yeah,
and I lost Mark Ingram, which was devastating because, like I said, Ingram and Bradshaw were forming the most unlikely backcourt duo. It would be like picking a 12 seed and a 13 seed to get to the Final Four. And they each get through the first 2 games, in college basketball, and they get through the first 2 games, you're like, this could happen. Like, I could ride Ingram and Bradshaw to the, to the promised land, and Ingram gets me 3
thanks
TDs.
To the Browns.
Bradshaw, gets me a total of, 2 or 3 TDs. And I'm so losing Ingram just really kills me. But like you, I have Zach Stacy. I have Alfred Blue just in case. So I feel pretty good about both teams. It's just, again, you can always tweak your team. You just want to make sure you're tweaking about what's going forward, not what's looking back. Everyone last week going into week 2 talking about Donnie Avery. All these tweets. I probably had half a dozen tweets to me saying, do I start Donnie Avery or do I start some great receiver? And I kept saying, don't start Donnie Avery. Like, well, he had a great week 1. And my response was, what makes you think that Donnie Avery, with Dwayne Bowe coming back, Travis Kelce getting more involved in the offense, and Alex Smith throwing the ball, what makes you think Donnie Avery is suddenly going to be the next coming of Larry Fitzgerald or Demaryius Thomas? Donnie Avery is what he is. He's a 40-yard-a-guy player who had one big game. And anyone who started Donnie Avery last week realized now that they made a mistake.
BJ Rudell, Fantasy Football for Winners. That's why I love having you here, my man, and look forward to...
I get worked up over this, Jerry. This is,
I'm telling you.
This is fantasy in the real world.
This is it, man. This is it, man, and we're trying to keep me alive here at the same time, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much once again for being with us here this week. Looking forward to next week and seeing what the landscape looks like. Another week, whole another slate of games. We get to do this again, so I'm looking forward next Thursday. Same time, man. Let's do it.
Sounds good, Jerry. Good luck this week.
All right, you too. I'm going to need it. I don't know about you. BJ Rudell, author of Fantasy Football for Winners. You guys can check him out every Thursday right here on the Sports Fix. He's with us at 1:30, getting you set and leading up right into the first football game of the season. So there's hope for everybody. You're always one player away from the turnaround. We're one segment away from ending the show, so don't go anywhere. Final break. Sit tight. Phone lines are open, by the way. If you were trying to get through, last chance. 216-539-7535. When we come back, final segment of the show. They're putting the billboard back up, and it's got a little bit more hair in this one, I think, too. We'll talk about that when we come back. Set the stage for the Tribe, wrap things up. Final segment of the Sports Fix coming up next.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Throwing you the best sports commentary in town. The Sports Fix.
It's an addiction. The Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck, home of the low price tire guarantee. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
There's heritage, and then there's birthright. The passing down of important things. We're talking about something deeper than nostalgia. We are proud. The C is for Cleveland and courage and comeback. No matter who we are before, when we put it on, we stand on common ground. This season, it's about unfinished business. Get ready. Here comes the Tribe.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Ohio knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This is Josh Tomlin of the Cleveland Indians, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Now, back to the Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix across the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock back with you as we head into the final few moments of the show. Thank you, looking back, to everybody that's joined us here today. Not only those of you out there in listener land around the world, but Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com. Our last guest, BJ Rudell, author of Fantasy Football for Winners, with us every Thursday here, as is our first guest of the show, the BSK, Kendall Lewis. That was a fun conversation as well today. I'm telling you, I'm really digging the Thursday lineup, man. Thursdays. I always come out of the shows on Thursday and go, man, that was a good show. We're all over the place, and I like those kind of shows where you get, it's not just about, when we say, getting a lot of content into one show, it's not just about how much you can cram in, but the quality of it too. And, that's always That's always been the goal here, but the last month or two since we got into the football season with Thursdays, I've really enjoyed the way the Thursday shows have gone. Hopefully today, no different for that, guys. Looking ahead to tomorrow, always crazy on Fridays. Jonathan Knight here, sports writer extraordinaire. We look ahead to the weekend. The Browns, the Ravens, new Browns, old Browns, Baltimore, Cleveland, however you want to bill it and put it on the marquee. That's the matchup this weekend. And that means on Friday, Ryan Ruiz from the Inscriber here to tell you his 3 dog bones to a Browns victory, what the Browns absolutely have to do to have a chance to win this game. Meanwhile, Jeff Gorman of Browns101.com, he joins us to talk about the game, and he's got the scouting report for the team on the other side of the sidelines, the Baltimore Ravens here. He'll break down all the threats that the Ravens bring to this game as the Browns attempt to go 2-0 at home for the first time in a decade since 2004, and for only the second time since 1995. That's quite a stretch there. You know, I mean, when you think about it, BSK wasn't exaggerating when he said when you start looking for these things, you got to go back 30, 40 years. It sounds longer than you think until you realize that that's the last glory period right there is right about that length of time away. So anyways, not 40, but 30 and 25 down on that end. But anyways, so all of that on tap tomorrow here as we get ready for the weekend. We'll be coming back, of course, talking about the Indians and how they wrapped up this series with a victory over the Houston Astros. Let's just, guys, make me look good here. Take care of that. Hopefully we don't have to talk about anything else tomorrow. We'll continue that winning streak, flip it over to 3, and keep it moving, fellas. Just keep it moving. Finish off the Astros. We got Danny Salazar going tonight against Feldman on the other side of the hill there, and a chance, like we said, take care of business. Then you got 3 with Minnesota, and then you come home. Will you still control your own destiny by the time Monday, September 22nd rolls around and you start with big one, the big 3 outs, and then the first game against Kansas City? Can you get there and keep it meaningful? And then all bets are off down the last week of the season. Let's see what happens. Come down to that last week of the season, down 3 or 4 games in the wild card with 7 to play and 4 against Kansas City, and you'll watch Indians fans come back like roaches when the lights come on, scattering out of the woodwork for that final week and going, well, man, I'm caught up in it again. You may be disappointed at the end. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but you'll be back assuming that the Indians can set the table, set the stage, man. And it's at home, too. It could be a very fun end to the baseball season. Don't allow yourself to miss it. And I don't even mean if it's not. What I mean is enjoy it. Like, this is the fun here, is sitting there and seeing what's going to happen for the next 7 days. Not going, well, I know they're not going to do it. I've known they weren't going to do it for 2 months. Okay, well, why are you still talking about it then? Do what you got to do. Go out there and play baseball, win some games, and let's add them up when it's all said and done. All right, guys, let's see. What else would that? Oh, yeah, the billboard. I wanted to bring it up earlier, and then I said, you know what? We'll talk about this at the end of the show. You never say never. And we've learned this year how many times to never say never. Not only is you-know-who coming back home, not only all the things that we've seen happen, but the billboard that they said would never, ever, 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 ever be put back up in downtown Cleveland from now on. My man GV, George Vlasic from GV Artwork, he drew the new one, the Sherwin-Williams banner that's down there in the replacement of the We Are Witnesses banner. And, well, never say never, like I said, because the temporary approval has been put through. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they're going to put another black and white LeBron billboard up. This one slightly different from the first one, but not much. It's still the same pose with the hands outspread, the chalk in the air. This is a little different. Instead of the backdrop of Cleveland, it's the backdrop of being in the arena with the fans. And on the back of the jersey, instead of saying LeBron James's name, it says Cleveland and 23. And there's no words, no we are all witnesses. It's just a Nike swoosh on it. So it's gotten the preliminary approval. Looks like it's going to end up being up there before the basketball season starts. But one thing you won't notice on the billboard, because he's got his back turned to you, I noticed it right away. And hey, listen, If I had unlimited money and resources and there was something that I was self-conscious